Go right ahead.
Ms. Bell?
I'd move to postpone this till the next meeting since Mr. Pawnell said that he would research that and come back to us with some possible solutions.
Motion made to postpone. Is there a second?
Second.
Made and seconded. Any further discussion on it? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 2 was postponed by an earlier vote, which leads us into new business. Number 1 is discussion of municipal code 2.36.04 operations manual for the finance department, sponsored by Ms. Ballance and Mr. Kirkpatrick. Motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss.
Motion made. Second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion's open. Ms. Ballance.
According to Ordinance 23604 Operations Manual, the Finance Director shall draw up a manual of performance for the Finance Department, which shall govern the daily operations of all personnel within the department. This manual will be made available yearly to the Mayor and City Council for suggestions and comments. And this came from Ordinance number 2004, Section 1 of October 10th, 2005. So I was interested to see that just so I could know what was going on. So I did an FOIA request on March 2nd, and I received the reply that the information was not provided because there was none. It's still being developed. So it's been 6 years in the development. So I'm hoping that perhaps sometime soon our finance director will be able to complete this operations manual so we can have a look at it, and if God forbid anything happens to her, that whoever would follow her would know what was going on.
Okay. Any further discussion? Ms. Yvonne's here to speak on that issue.
Yes, that was developed, or the ordinance was set up in 2005. There was 05, 6, and part of 7 that there wasn't a finance director, and it was established by the council and the mayor at that time. Right now it's in draft form. It's being put in place. I am waiting for my IT tech who came back in yesterday and got some more information in order to fulfill the part of the audit requirement in the disaster recovery plan for the accounting system. So as soon as we get that put together, that will encompass the district court, CAPC, transit, the finance department, the fire department. I believe that was all of them in this plan. So I have the plan to the point where it's ready to almost give to you all, but in the fact that you're going to have to adopt that plan, I felt that it'd be better to have it complete and then give it to you all to make any comments, make any changes, and then we'll go from there. So I'm hoping to have the disaster plan put together within the next couple of weeks, filtered out and everything. So do you have any other questions on it?
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Number 2 is discussion of new accounting software program for finance department. Ms. Ballance and Mr. Kirkpatrick sponsored. Motion to discuss.
This has been postponed until next
That
meeting,
number
if you
2,
please.
okay. All right, postponed.
So we're going to go back and pick this one up?
Apparently I made a mistake in mark number 2 under old business or unfinished business on the domestic fowl ordinance. Was that not postponed?
No,
okay.
it was
My bad. I'll buy that one. All right, we'll pick it up at the end of the business. Okay. All right, number 3 on the agenda for new business discussion of parks capital improvements. Mr. Levine is here to speak on their behalf.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Just a brief history. Thank you. At the end of 2010, December, the previous council did not approve our capital request, which at the time was for $15,000 and $10,000 to be set aside for a trail grant. In my 10 years being in city government, city councils had generally postponed capital till January. And I think we were told by council that we should come back to this council with that request. And due to weather, due to meetings, due to misscheduling, we're here in March. And in the meantime, our capital request has been reduced to $7,000. The $8,000 that we have been planning to use for a baseball infield, we're applying for a general improvement fund grant. And we are also, the kids are going to start fundraising through the Arkansas Naturals. They've offered them a program where they'll be able to sell tickets and keep a certain amount of the money for the tickets. So the kids are going to go out there and get after it. And we're going to start selling banners on the fences and see what we can do to get that grass infield taken care of. So that still leaves us with $7,000 that we're asking for. $2,000 we're asking for playground surfacing. Has been discussed in 2 different budget workshops. Our playground surface is a mess. We're asking for $3,000 for a surveillance camera to put up at East Mountain. That area there is heavily vandalized. The Rotary Club has invested over $15,000 in putting that right. We don't plant anything at East Mountain because it's gone. So we are going to also put in $3,000 to have the camera installed. The Chief Hyde is also interested in it because he feels that the Basin Park camera can be run off of this same system without having to pay a monthly Cox cable bill. The third item, 2, 3, I'm drawing a blank. 3, 2, another 2,000, but I can't remember what it's for.
Is that surveillance?
The surveillance was 3,000. 2,000 was for. Oh, I'm sorry. The
soccer board.
The soccer scoreboard. They've been playing out there for 5 or 6 years with just an incredible program that's run by Mike Smith, Shreya Smith, and I think it's about due that they have a scoreboard to keep score of the game like every other sport has, and we are putting up $1,000 to have it installed. So it makes our total request for capital funding for 2011 to be $7,000. That's it for me.
Motion to discuss this?
I'll move to discuss.
Okay, second? Second. Made and seconded. Discussion's open.
I guess this goes to a question for our finance director. We really haven't gone into our capital budgets, have we? I mean, we've got ambulances to deal with.
Yes, you have the ambulances to deal with. I'm not sure where they're at, or is there going to be a discussion today, or
There will be in my comments. Yeah.
in the comments? That will be taken up by you all probably at the next meeting on the ambulances, I guess. So we still have that to factor in also. The ambulances for one, I think, would probably be about $3,000 or $4,000 a month in the capital. Probably for the 2, if they go with 2, would be about $10,000 a month in your capital. So that's
$120,000 a year.
So.
Do we have a capital budget? I mean, proposals. I mean, besides Bruce, we had. I don't remember. I don't have my budget thing in front of me.
We had cut several things out of the original budget. I know that one thing was a was there an 80-20 match with Lamont for transit. Of course, we have just 2 loans, one for the bay and one for the bumper truck that we're still paying on for the fire department at this time. The police department, of course, that comes out of depreciation fund, is the police car that's in the budget. And I believe that's everything we have right now budgeted for capital.
Mr. Mayor, I guess what I'd like to see is for us to all to get together and have a workshop just for capital budget, capital, so we can see and take care of all this at one time.
Okay. But we can arrange that.
Beg your pardon?
I said we can arrange that. Yep.
So I'd just make a motion that we have a workshop to deal with the capital budgets.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried on the workshop.
And Diane can coordinate it and schedule it, and with Levon and everybody.
Okay, back to the original discussion. Any further comments, discussions to Mr. Levine regarding his issue on the...
I had one additional comment, if I may. If we can get on the agenda next time for the land bank proposal that we've made, if I could put that on the agenda. And I also wanted to have a more lengthy than usual report about our Basin Spring project that I wanted to bring to the council for their viewing under department head reports.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
On the land bank, is that, I mean, every year, or every time, it seems like when we come up and we give them money and then we don't really give you any money, we put it somewhere. Is that part of the discussion, or is
Yes.
it part of?
Yes, it's creating a line item that was not created
So,
last
I mean,
year.
well, that's kind of another capital budget issue.
It is.
Would be.
And that's something we should discuss at the workshop.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The reason why nothing's been done on the land bank situation is I believe there needs to be an ordinance drafted to know what the money is for and how it's to be used. It's always been budgeted, but there's nothing to explain what the money is for. So that's my deal with that. So I think we need to have some kind of it needs to be added to an agenda for you all to discuss to determine.
Would it be an ordinance or a resolution?
I think it could be either.
Yeah.
If it's going to be a permanent thing, which the way I understand it, it probably should be an ordinance that enables the specifics of what it's to be used for in generalities, not in individual projects.
Sure.
And then the individual projects would be approved by resolution as it went along.
Okay, thank you. Any further, Ms. Ballance?
Yeah. I'd like to be able to give parks all the money they need for everything they need.
Thank you.
But I'm having a problem with this. There have been several times when I've talked to the mayor or around the mayor and said we maybe ought to have money for this or that. In particular, when I called the mayor and talked to him about Ms. Nellie Clark's terrible, horrible
Let's stay
deal.
on subject. And it's
And,
about...
and every time the mayor says,
Miss-
we don't have any money. Where are you going to get the
You're
money?
out of order, ma'am. If you want to stay on task on the item that we're discussing, you may.
I object to your
It has
decision.
nothing to do with Ms. Clark.
It has to do with money, which you say we don't have any of.